Hey everyone, welcome to the beginner breakdown video for Terry Bogard in King of Fighters 14. In this video I'm going to show you the basics on how to play this character, that way you get right into the game, start beating up your friends. This video series is intended more for beginners and low level players, or anybody who has trouble learning a new character. And with that in mind, let's get started. As always, let's start off with far normals first. Here's light punch, light kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. Far light punch will whiff a lot on crouchers in this game, especially some medium-sized bodies and small crouchers. So be wary of that. It's a mid, so we block both crouching or standing, and it is really close to even on block, I believe, and you can super cancel it. Far light kick goes really far. It's a mid, it can be blocked both crouching or standing. It's a little bit negative on block, really good range, beats out light punch as far as range goes. You can super cancel it, and it's a pretty okay max mode button. So if you like whiff punish something from a distance, somebody like whiff something dumb, you can do something like that, right? And max mode cancel it into some big damage. And far heavy punch is a mid. It'll whiff on some small crouchers in the game. It'll hit a lot of medium-sized body characters like Terry, I believe. But anybody smaller than that, it'll tend to whiff a lot. It's a mid, so we block with crouching or standing, and you can super cancel it. And it's a little bit negative on block, but it does push back. So if somebody's guarding it and you just throw it out there, it's an okay poke, and it does push back that far. Heavy kick goes really far. It's a mid, so we can block both crouching or standing. It'll hit opponents who are standing from really far away. If they're crouching, it'll whiff at the tip unless they're a really big-bodied character. So you have to be a little bit closer for it to actually hit. Maybe about like that range. No, about that range. It is a little bit negative on block, and it does push back a little bit, making it pretty difficult to punish if you even can punish it. And it's about the same range as light kick. Go over close buttons next. Light punch, light kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. Close light punch is a mid. It can be blocked both crouching or standing. It's a little bit negative on block, and you can super and special cancel it into whatever. Close light kick is also a mid, so crouching or standing, blocking that is, and it's a little bit negative. You can super or special cancel it. Got a lot of leeway with those two buttons. And then close heavy punch is another mid, a tiny bit negative for a heavy button, which is kind of good. It pushes back a decent amount too. It is super and special cancelable, and you can special or super cancel it on either hit. You don't have to wait for the second hit. You can do it on the first one if you wanted to, and you are a little bit closer than if you were to do it on the second hit, as if you noticed there when I special cancel into that power wave. That was a little bit further away if I waited until the second hit. And close heavy kick, another mid, so you can block both crouching or standing. It is pretty negative on block, but it does push back quite a distance. And it is super and special cancelable. Harry can also combo his close light punch into close light kick from point blank, and it'll both combo, and you can special cancel that second hit and super cancel it as well. Let's go over crouching normals next. Light punch, light kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. Crouching light punch is a mid, and can be blocked both crouching or standing, so it is not a real low. It is close to even on block. I think it is even. And it's also chainable from up close. You can get a couple in a row. And then light kick, they have about the same range, light kick and light punch. But light kick is an actual low, so if you want to open up somebody who's just stand blocking, you have to use that one. It's just a tiny bit negative on block. You can chain a couple in a row, and you can super cancel it. You cannot special cancel it as far as I know. If you want to special cancel, you have to go and chain into light punch, like that. And then crouching heavy punch is a mid. We block both crouching or standing. It is pretty negative on block, but it does push back quite a distance like that. And you can super and special cancel it. Crouching heavy kick is Terry's sweep. It goes a little bit further than you might expect. It's really negative, but you can super and special cancel it, try to make it safer. It's something you can do from crouching, which is a pretty good max mode confirm. Is if you chain a couple of light kicks in a row, and then you go into a standing light kick, you can max mode cancel that. Kind of like that, and of course you want to cancel that close heavy punch into something big. Over Terry's jumping normals. Out of the characters that I've covered, he's the second character that has neutral buttons. If you hit neutral light punch, or jumping light punch, it'll look like that. And then light kick as well will look like that. And then if you notice, if I jump forward or backwards with light punch, he does that little chop. And if I jump backwards or forward with light kick, he does that kick, so it looks different. Alright, so neutral light punch and neutral light kick are pretty much air to air, so if the opponent is jumping. You could meet them in the air with that. If you got a good read, just neutral jump and hit them out of the air for just a tiny bit of damage. Those buttons aren't particularly good, not jump-ins, but they're not really good like neutral jumps on crouchers, for example, because they tend to whiff a lot on crouchers. And then same with light punch. They're all pretty much completely horizontal. As far as the rest of the jump-in buttons, they're all normal jump-ins. You can get whatever you want off of them as long as you time it right, with the exception of light kick. So if the opponent is crouching, it will whiff on pretty much all crouchers in the game. It might not whiff on big bodies, I forgot to test that. But regardless, just use one of the other buttons, just make it easy on yourself. As far as hopping buttons go, heavy kick is not a bad one to use. You can hit it from quite a bit of distance. Heavy punch is not a bad short hop button either. The only problem is that it tends to whiff a lot on crouchers, like if at specific ranges, like right here. For example, if you're just too close, it'll whiff completely. You have to kind of hit it where his fist is. I guess same thing as a jump in as well, see? I hadn't considered that, but yeah. It's jumping blowback attack, which you can execute by hitting heavy punch and heavy kick in the air. Looks like this. It's pretty good. You can short hop with it, you can jump in the air with it, you can beat somebody in the air with it. It's a good all-around button. It's plus on block, like all of the jumping blowback attack buttons, or commands. Pretty good. You don't have to worry about it whiffing on crouchers either. So it is a good one to use. Next, let's go over command normals. He has 2 of them. So the first one is forward and light punch. His big old back fist. Has a lot of range on it, a lot of startup though. It won't whiff on crouchers, even though it looks like it probably should. It is a mid, so you can block both crouching or standing. It is pretty negative on block, but it does push back a distance, making it really difficult to punish, if it even is punishable. You can only super cancel off of it. There you go. You can't you can't special cancel it at all, as far as I know. And you can use it as a combo too as well. So if you off of your heavy buttons, you can go into it pretty easily. You can also get it off of some light buttons as well. You just have to, the timing is a little tighter. Like so, and then you can super cancel that. Can't get it from his far light buttons. It has to be from his close light buttons. Or crouching buttons. You can use it as a max mode combo tool, kind of like that as well, in addition to the one I showed you earlier from crouching, like that. It has one more command normal, and it's down forward and heavy punch at the same time. This uppercut right here. It's a pretty solid anti-air. You could use that as like a one button anti-air. Has a pretty alright hitbox for that. It is possible for it to trade with, good button presses. If you throw this out just point blank at somebody, it is pretty negative on block, and they can punish it if they have anything that moves pretty quickly across the screen horizontally. Like for example, Terry's standing light kick goes pretty far horizontally, that it can punish it on block at point blank. You can use it as a combo tool as well, so if you land a hit and you confirm, or you know you're gonna land a hit, you can combo into it from his heavy buttons. And even his light buttons, you just have to be close enough. And then the little uppercut is super and special cancelable. Be wary of using it in a block string, because his heavy buttons do push back. It's like for example, if you wait to the second hit of heavy punch, it'll just completely whiff. And so you have to do it like off the first hit. And if you do it off of heavy kick, it'll be a block string, but you gotta remember that this is negative. And Terry's blowback attack, which you can do by hitting heavy punch and heavy kick while you're on the ground. This right there is pretty good. It's a little negative on block, but I think it's safe, especially if you land it at the tip. It does push back, and he moves forward as you notice, so it has pretty good range. And also you can cancel it to try to make it a little bit safer as well, and you can get some guaranteed combos off of it, like if you just cancel into the heavy punch power wave. If you wanted to guarantee make it safe, there's a lot of hits on it, right? And so you can cancel into a crack shoot to make it safe. That crack shoot is only a little bit negative on block, so you are negative, so don't go pressing buttons afterwards. But you could try that to be a little bit annoying. Quickly go over throws. Here's his forward throw. Hard knockdown lets you run in on them. And then back throw as well, hard knockdown, you can run in on them to start applying some Terry pressure. Let's go over special moves next. First one Terry has is critical forward plus punch, but it's power wave. And I think you might be saying rock out. Anyway, That's the light punch one. It goes kind of slowly across the screen. It is a projectile. Here's the heavy punch version. It goes quicker. The EX version goes pretty quickly, but there's a decent amount of startup on it. They're all mid, so even though they're low to the ground, the opponent can block them standing. As I said, they are projectiles, so if somebody else is throwing out projectiles, you can have a projectile war with them and they'll clash and dissipate each other out. If you throw the EX one out, it'll beat regular projectiles and go through them and hit the opponent. It'll clash with EX projectiles. If you're throwing them point blank for whatever reason up close, they are negative on block, except the EX one. The EX one is plus if you get them to block it. You can use them to zone. You can also combo into them as long as you're close enough and you put them in a lot of hit stun, like from a heavy button, it'll combo. And you can also super cancel it as well. Like that, you just have to pretty much cancel it right away. And it's a pretty easy super cancel into his kick super. You just pretty much input the projectile and then you input a second core circle forward plus kick, and then you pretty much got the requirements to get the super. It's very easy to do at low level. And if you're in EX mode doing like a block string, you could end the block string in that. You know, in ER plus, you can keep them blocking, give you enough time to get in and start pressing some other buttons to harass them. Maybe they'll press a dumb button. Next special move he has is core circle back plus punch. Burn knuckle. Here's a light punch version. Goes about that far. A punch version goes even further. And EX version goes pretty much full screen. They're all mid, so they can be blocked both crouching or standing, and they each do more damage than last. So EX does the most damage, and light punch does the least. And then that heavy punch is somewhere in the middle. They're all pretty much punishable on block, especially if you do them really close. Even the light punch version, that is actually something that got nerfed. The light punch version used to be safe. They are space dependent, so if you throw any of them out from a distance and hit pretty much at the tip of it, kind of like that, it is safer, a lot safer and a lot more difficult to punish. Same thing with the heavy punch version. So you kind of catch somebody by surprise who's maybe walking forward or running forward, being a little bit too overzealous, and you can kind of tag them with that really quick. You can combo into the EX version and the light punch version from any of his heavy buttons. There's enough hit stun on it so that the long startup of these burn knuckles will land in time. It is pretty difficult to combo into the heavy punch version of it just because he does that little flare before charging forward. So you probably won't be doing that, like I said before. It's more for surprising people, I believe. And not only that, but you can super cancel them on hit or block into whichever super you want. Climax super as well. If you hadn't noticed before, all the hits are hard knockdowns. So if you land it, it gives you time to run in and start applying some pressure. And there's really nothing you can get off of them after you've already landed it. They just hit the ground and it's a hard knockdown. There's not much you can do. Next special move Terry has is core circle back plus kick. Crack shoot. The light kick version goes about that far. Heavy kick version goes just a tiny bit further. EX goes pretty short distance, but it is really quick. The regular ones are both 2 hits, and they do the exact same amount of damage. The EX version does the most damage. It does just a little bit more damage, not a lot more. The light kick version is only a little bit negative on block. So you aren't at an advantage, so you will want to block afterwards, but it does make you safe, so you can commit to it if you're low level off of like some heavy buttons and just block afterwards. The heavy kick one is even on block. So if you do combo into it from some of his block strings, or not combo into it, but if you do commit to it for some of his block strings, you will be safe because, like I said, it is even. And then the same thing with the EX version. So EX and heavy you kind of commit to. You can combo into all of them, the light one, the heavy one, or the EX one, from pretty much all of his heavy buttons, or anything with a lot of hit stun, like his command normals as well. And then the EX one gives you the most combo potential because they do bounce up off the ground if you land it. So you can hit them afterwards. If you want to keep it simple and you're not sure what to do, you can just land a blowback attack for some easy damage afterwards. You could do a super afterwards, and you can kind of take your sweet time doing it. You know, buffering the opponent, doing it all. And you can also land other special moves as well. Like, if you time it right, you can land a burn knuckle. And then you can cancel that burn knuckle into a special move. Also, there's nothing particularly tricky about any of the crack shoots. They're all mid, so they can be blocked both crouching or standing. Next special move he has is a charge move. So if you charge downwards, and then after just a little bit, if you hit up and punch, he'll do this, the flying tackle. And each one does more damage than the last. So the light punch does the least amount of damage. EX does the most. Then heavy punch, it's somewhere in the middle. So they're about the same ranges. He goes forward a little bit when you execute it. They're all mids. They can block both crouching or standing. You can use them as anti-airs, like if you're playing a little defensively and you're happen to be holding down back or something to block, and somebody jumps in on you, you could anti-air with that for a decent amount of damage. I believe his heavy punch one has just a little bit of invincibility on it on startup. So if there are certain like block strings that somebody's doing and there's a gap in between them, you could try to time it correctly and then hit up and punch, go through it and hit him as a reversal. That means you can also use it as you're getting up off the ground. If you're holding down back and you know the opponent's rushing, you could try to commit to that big risk move. The EX1 for sure does have some invincibility on it. You can combo into these rising tackles. You just have to be close enough for it to work. Kind of like that, for example. It's all entirely space dependent. Next special move Terry has is half circle forward plus kick. Here's the light kick version. It goes kind of far forward. Heavy kick version goes a little bit further. And the X1 goes about the same distance as the heavy kick one. Each one does more damage than the last, so light kick does the least amount of damage, EX the most, heavy kick somewhere in the middle. They're all mids, so they can be blocked both crouching or standing. So what's interesting about them, you can combo into them from pretty much any of his heavy buttons, anything with a lot of hit stun on it, except for the heavy kick version of it, just because there's a lot of startup on it, considerable amount of startup. And then the EX1, same deal, you can combo into it pretty easily from heavy buttons, or anything with a lot of hits on it, even his command normals. One thing to note about the special moves is that they are, I think, decently safe from point blank. So they are negative, so don't go hitting buttons afterward. If you hit the attack from even further away, they actually turn into plus just a little bit. See right there how I was further away and now I'm landing before the other Terry? That's because it's a little bit plus from the further away you are. And then the heavy kick version especially, even if you're just a little bit further away, you see your plus. Kind of interesting. So it is space dependent. But the heavy kick version is not comboable. I think it'd probably be a little too good if you could combo into it pretty easy as part of a block string. You could make it into not a real block string if you think the opponent is going to be playing super defensively. So you could do something like that. And if they're holding down back, you land them with a shoulder charge like that. And then you're plus and you're right next to them. And you can also super cancel the regular ones. And if you somehow land the heavy kick version for whatever reason, they do get blown back in the air. And you have time to hit them with something if you're especially if you got them in the corner. You can hit like a rising tackle. Yeah, mid screen's a little bit more difficult to land something if it even is possible. Kind of like standing heavy kick, a far heavy kick rather. The EX version is the best version in terms of combo potential. It always wall bounces them, so you can get more stuff off of it, especially mid-screen. You combo into it, and then pretend I super cancel that for even more damage. You do have to be wary though if you do combo into the EX1 like in the corner, or not just combo into it, but if you land the EX1 in the corner, they will, because you're really close, they'll bounce over you and it reverses your inputs. So whatever, if you want to do a burn knuckle, you have to do it the opposite way. And you have to be kind of quick about it. Let's go over supers next. He has core circle back, half circle forward, plus punch. Looks like this. You can use that power geyser to anti-air if you wanted to. So that's the regular version. EX1 does more damage. Goes a little bit further as well. Next one he has is core circle forward twice, plus kick. Then an EX1. And then his Climax super is half circle back twice and then both kicks. I think that's one of the cooler ones in the game. If you want to cancel a super into an EX super, you can go in either direction. They both work. They're just space dependent, so the closer you are to the opponent when you advance cancel into the other super, into the EX1, the better and the more likely they are to land. So it'll look something like this. That one I was canceling the kick super into the punch super. You want to make sure you cancel on the second hit. If you were going to go the other way, you're canceling it pretty much right when it lands. If you're going to go from those supers into Climax super, you can go either way. Same thing. The closer you are, the better. If I were a little bit further to the left, he would have just did that like flying knee upwards and would have missed. This route you have to cancel pretty quickly. If you wait just a little bit too long to advance cancel, you'll still get the advance cancel, but then you'll just whiff the Climax super. Some quick combos to get you started. Of course, you can do any of his heavy buttons like heavy punch into like burn knuckle into super. If you want to keep it safe, you could do his crack shoots, especially the heavy kick one. And from low, you could do something like it's a heavy punch power tackle or rising tackle. And if you want to complicate some of his close stuff a little bit more, you can kind of throw in backhand afterwards into super cancel of sorts, or you know, backhand into max mode cancel like that. And if you wanted a special cancel, you could do a down forward heavy punch instead, and special cancel that into something like power wave, or maybe even crack shoot to keep it safe if they do block it. If from up close, you can do something like this from crouching, kind of like that. And then of course you can change whichever ender you want to a different special move. And that was crouching, just one crouching light kick, crouching light punch, down forward heavy punch, and then I special canceled it. And then of course refer to the special move section and the super section to see how you can special cancel any of these moves, how much, you know, what options you have off of each of the special moves and supers, and how you can maybe convert them into more damage. Well, there you have it. The Terry Bogard beginner breakdown is complete. Thank you for watching. Quick time to shell. If you found this episode useful or any of the other episodes useful, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Seeing more subscribers is really nice. Of course, they're not being held hostage, so if I don't get any subscribers, whatever, who cares, I'll still keep making them. Anyways, with that, let's go to member select really quick. If you did not watch the Love Heart video, I was going to mention that at this point I'm going to jump around, just because I'm starting to get to the point where I personally only want to do characters I'm kind of interested in at the moment, a little bit more than characters I have no interest in. And of course I'll see if I can do the whole cast. I'll try to, even if it takes me a while. And I will get around to some characters I don't like too much. But anyway, I'll see. What I think I might do Luong next, since I play her on and off, and she has like 3 special moves, so that should be an easy video. So anyways, thank you for watching the Terry Bogard video and not the Andy Bogard video. I'll do Andy Bogard eventually. I'll just do it when I kind of feel like it. So thank you for watching Terry Bogard Beginner Breakdown, and I hope you learned something, and I'll see you next one.